Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation, what is sensorality? My constitutional rights continue to be violated profoundly and extensively, completely destroying all quality of life and destroying my health and basic sense of safety. I continue to seek asylum outside of the United States of America. My rights, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution is supposed to protect my right to my writings and my discoveries. Failure to uphold that right has made my life nothing. Like, I can't sustain basic biological functions of eating and sleeping. And so I continue to be the victim of major prolific crime, specifically for scientific discovery, done by the government. I currently live in the jurisdictions of Michael DeWine and Donald Trump. I am completely destitute as a grown man, and I am seeking scientific asylum outside of the United States. With that being said, continuing on with our derivation, just working through linguistic analysis to solidify and stabilize what is a sensor. Just moving through our derivation steps. And so, anything else? The things from the derivation I wanted to forefront of your mind is, again, if you lived in a society that respected the law and you had any idea of what analysis is, we make big steps every single day that is legitimate. That's not me trying to sound smart. It's just, again, we're working through a ton of stuff you've never seen, and it's all legitimate, and it's all done at a pace that you've never seen also. But the biggest thing from the last episode was we've produced a specific general form of language, right? What is co-ality, right? Coordination, cooperation, correctness. Like, what is correct? But this overall word form of CO as a prefix, and always should come with a hyphen, but we can see those word forms rather naturally with coordination, cooperation. And then end in ality, or have ality, that syllability, some part in the word, right? So then you have co-ality, and it produces the well-defined word coal. Language is directly literal, and so sensor has a direct natural definition. And that was the other thing I wanted to point out specifically to the derivation itself, is that a natural definition is anytime you say the word is. I'm taking through every bit of realization that I have throughout this analysis process. So the biggest thing is just showing you differentiation of when the quality, because the words are all the same, the theorems are all the same. Well, the order of the words is different, is unique, but just emphasizing when the overall quality of where we're at in the derivations changes. And so the natural definition specifically is anytime you say is, right? It is what it is naturally defined. And then the natural definition, the sufficient differentiation where it gives it its unique meaning. Go to the store versus do a backflip, it means different things. And so a natural definition is just, it is what it is, sufficiently differentiated. Direct iteration is truly this whole entire process, but we're specifically iterating the conceptualization of censorship, of what is a sensor, hence what is sensorality. But wanting to be specific, I'm only putting natural definitions now for anything that's poignant enough. Certainly every time sensorality is, that's always a natural definition. Truly, anytime you say this is that, and it's sufficiently differentiated, you're not saying, blue is blue, right? Energy is generosity. Conceptually, you have progress. Conceptually, you have differentiation. Linguistically, you're just expanding that direct word form. And so, only putting natural definitions for sensorality is, and then direct iterations is just, again, enough differentiation where it's like, hey, this is a part of the derivation I want to highlight. But again, all of this formalization reduces fundamental theorems, natural definitions, direct iterations, just to what is a sensor, direct proof. Speciality is special with an ITY. When we're just building up, again, this self-contained question that is answered by what is sensorality. And then we show the identity, it is what it is, with the right word forms, the common denominators linguistically, and it just reduces to it is what it is. And so that was where we were. Synergy is generous. A direct statement of energy is energy. All right, and then what is velocity to energy? Right, energy is movement potential. Velocity is movement. And so just moving along. But that was another big one we had yesterday, is that movement is productive, as like the most comprehensive thing you can say about physics, the fundamental theorem of physics. Moving through our steps. What is twisting to iterating? Right? What is power to powder? So now, big linguistic progress. We have two sections throughout this section, or throughout this video. But right, sensorality, this chunk of syllability that is definitively solvable by the proof of speciality, which is this complete analysis process you haven't seen, but it's directly, literally true. Speciality, special with an ITY, is the direct literal conclusion of that analysis. And so that's why we know we can solve sensorality. But we've contained this conceptualization. We're trying to figure out what is sensorality, but now we have sensodorality, which contains the linguistics. It directly expands sensorality by consonants OD. And so we have linguistic containment, conceptual containment, and just, again, a word form and a conceptual framework in which we can derive a definition. And now we have what is power to powder. And it's that same expansion by the D. Nice. We put the D back in. Nice. But power to powder. And it has this, again, word form completion consistency of sensodorality, powderality. Sensorality is powder, sensorality is powderality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality powderizes, sensorality pulverizes. Sensorality crushes. What is a crush to a crash? Is charge powerful? Is powerful meaningful? Is movement powerful? Sensorality powers movement. So like there, I even have natural definition, direct iteration. I've dropped that completely. Again, it's just showing you where it's like these theorems are unique enough, have enough novelty where it's like even amongst all of this derivation, these ones stand out a little more. But again, definition is directly, literally. Identity is what it is. Is movement meaningful? Is love meaningful? Sensorality loves movement. Sensorality loves power. Sensorality is the lore of love. All right, one of these general forms, sensorality is a love story. Shout out Taylor Swift. Sensorality is a love store. Shout out Lion's Den. Gloves contain love. Direct iteration. So again, that's a direct iteration where, again, we don't use the word is, but we're just saying love is love, and then glove contains love, and then glove contains love. I mean, just a direct iteration. Sensorality gloves. Natural definition, direct iteration. Shout out the game Glover from N64. Are gloves glorious? Are gloves jovial? Amicability is joviality. Sensorality is joviality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Again, jovial, kind-hearted, warm, generous. But joviality is generosity. But even, again, shout out to Joby, the aviation stock company, their ticker sign. Right? You iterate the V, which iterates to B in a lot of Indian languages and Spanish. Joviality, jobiality. Nice. Is jovial trivial? Is jovial joyous? Sensorality is joyosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is joy virtuous? Is virtue viral? Is virtue good? Right? We have a turn on CBS for the evening news at 6:30, and it's like, a minute of good or whatever end segment. Right? Is virtue viral? Sensorality is a good goal. Sensorality is a good game. GG's. 6-7, 6-7. Why did I do that? I don't know. What is a goal to a game? An objective is an aim. Are we even still doing that? That one's got to stay around for a little bit. Frankly, I'm a fan of Skibbity Toilet. I'm a fan of the 6-7. I like that one a lot. But those types of viral, those motions, those go burn through pretty quick. They change pretty quick. What is a goal to a game? An objective is an aim. Is directive objective? Fundamental theorem of emotion. Behavior is meaningful. Actions speak louder than words. You say what you think, you do what you mean. Behavior is action. Behavior speaks louder than words. Sensorality behaves. Switch the order. Direct example of irreducibility. Sensorality behaves. Sensorality halves be. Doesn't really make any sense, but it's a direct iteration with this irreducibility completely. Natural definition, direct iteration, complete. What is deletion to completion? Sensorality completes deletion. Sensorality has base. That is B-A-S-E if you're just listening. What is has to have? What is derivation to contemplation? Sensorality contemplates deviation. Sensorality completes contemplation. Sensorality contemplates temptation. My voice did some weird shit. What is coal to goal? Right? Coality, coal. What is goality? All right, that's a direct iteration of the word form, coality to the G, but then we have the word goal, I-T-Y, but then the general form, but produces a whole word. Sensorality is go-ality. A product is work. Movement requires power. Definition is, and this is specifically in the derivation where I made that explicit. Okay, I'm only saying natural definitions the whole time, right? The form of language is, it is what it is. So a natural definition is enough conceptual difference, but it's just and then a lot of times they're direct iterations. But the direct iterations is the same word form, literally saying the same thing with just different consonants. Natural definitions use is for identity and then progress or change the conceptualization. And then emphasizing throughout this derivation, trying to only focus on the ones that the natural definition specifically to sensorality, which is this, again, axiomatization that we're integrating to the whole ontology. But then natural definitions are anytime you say is. This is that. And which I do label, but they just have to be like poignant or feel novel enough where it's like, hey, it sticks out in the context of this proof even. Height is height, or eighth is height. So again, this length, width, height, explicitly pointing out the TH, this completing ordinality. That was the big progression there. But if you have eighth, that completely spells height. So that is a natural definition, direct iteration, complete. Is movement irreducible? Is memory powerful? So again, previously in this derivation, when we've been saying, we have this irreducible sounds, that's the fundamental empirical thing. We represent those sounds with shapes. Those shapes are limited by elementality, this discreteness produced by things. It has this fundamental inherent component of 2, that's the fundamental stability of 2, irreducibility plus the numeric limit. But then if we put these syllables, again, the actual sound, and then we represent them correctly, the right ontology, the letter structure that's been produced by the society we were all born into, we produce this natural definition, direct iteration, completion, where that word form, the syllable sequence, becomes an irreducible word. Or that stabilizes a definition, and that stabilizes sensorality. So, again, we've already done it with speciality, and we've got to be super freaking close. Moving along, what is armory to authority? What is definition to renormalization? Are definitions normal? Again, this renormalization, that's every time we say natural definition, specifically to sensorality. Sensorality is the conceptualization we're renormalizing. What is sensorality? Sensorality is. Sensorality is. Until we get to this irreducible form. Are definitions normal? Sensorality normalizes definition. Normalizing is stabilizing. Natural definition. All right, that's enough conceptualization because we have this normal is not mall, no mall. One of these ones where we use is, it's not sensorality, but it's worth pointing out it's a natural definition. Sensorality is a league of colleagues. Sensorality is a league of legends. What is a league to a level? Is level even? Direct iteration. Sensorality is easy league. Sensorality beleaguers. What is believing to beleaguering? What is a lesson to a lecture? Sensorality is the essence of a lesson. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is a lesson to a lesion? What is a lesion to a legion? Bonjour again, Francois Macaroni Land. Are legionnaires legendary? That secret little France team that no one's going to figure out. Francois and Macaroni. Found them. Is gender legendary? Sensorality is genderity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is genderality. Sensorality is the end of gender. Natural definition, direct iteration. Specifically linguistic there. Again, why are words gendered? Right? How does conjugation relate to gender? Right? Some sort of consistency. That's kind of like what that step is. Sensorality generates gender. Sensorality, and then that one's like biology, your differentiation of your cells. Sensorality generalizes gender. Sensorality genderizes. A look is a gander. Gender, gander. Do ganders garner? I would like to garner your gander. Look at me. Give me my money. What is monetization to memorization? What is memorization to monopolization? What is monetization to monopolization? Sensorality is a power move. Natural definition, direct iteration. I feel like we've hit that before. Clearly, again, we started with power, powder. We get back to that very shortly. Just getting to a common denominator. Effectively, just a word form we can solve. Sensorality moves power. Sensorality moves a power grab. Right? I feel like I'm on Jeopardy, before and after. Right? Power move, power grab, sensorality moves a power grab. Or maybe Wheel of Fortune, whatever show. And so, again, even in this derivation, in these videos, specifically in the past, 50 videos, I've been emphasizing the word step. And again, it's just one of these like pairing, I can tell it's part of the derivation. It's like, why am I saying step? And then I'm even like articulating it like emphatically, right? Sets are steps. So that's a fundamental theorem, again, kind of math and of physics. A step is discrete, a step is a physical level, and then sets, again, are sets. But steps are sets. Sets are discrete. Is anything set? No, right? We have this open component. We have thermodynamic equilibrium. We're always exchanging mass. Yeah, we're exchanging mass, or that mass. Well, again, do we dissipate energy? Like, do I lose movement potential throughout the day? Yes. Is that internal, right? Is that becoming entropy out into the world, or is it just Brad's a lazy piece of shit and can't move anymore throughout the day? Again, I forget where I was going with that. But again, just anything that comes to mind, conceptualization. Again, we just get to a direct answer of something definitive we can answer. Sensorality is a stepping stone. I guess is energy set? Is movement potential bounded? Again, it's just one of these bigger questions where we don't have conceptualization or linguistic structure to. Anytime you try to ask a question, how big is big, or how out there is out there, again, we have this numeric iteration limit at 7, 6, 7, but 7 to 8. 8 is the infinity sign. Infinity is this awareness that the set of information just grows. Right? The minimum, 1 over the speed of light, and then the maximum, the speed of light. But it's conceptually, that's what it is mathematically, and then conceptually it's the awareness that things just keep endlessly differentiating. There's just more information coming in, and that just never stops. And so our linguistic structure of things we can answer is bounded at this upper end. We can completely know the lower end. And again, that's what we're doing with sensorality, is not finding the range, right? Not finding the domain of what everything, going back to speciality, right? Every context which would generate or make somebody call you special, we can't articulate that. And that is infinite, genuinely. And so we just have to build up this conceptual basis of sensorality and then show that fundamental differentiation linguistically. That's the direct iteration, that's the stabilizing syllability. That will be the conclusion of sensorality. Not there yet, but we've already done it with speciality. And so that is, we're solving like the basis. We're solving the fundamental two parts where we can show this immediate, complete, definitive differentiation, but then the range is not bounded. So anytime you try to get to a conceptual question, again, is energy bounded? Is movement potential bounded? We're just misconceptualizing. It feels like a big question, but it's just not a right question. So we move along. But sensorality is a step is a set. Sensorality is a stepping stone. Is stepping walking? Consider the following. The op stepped. Sensorality steps up. What is a step to a strap? When the op steps, do you have a strap? Again, I know we've hit this conceptualization, but consider the following. Sean Carroll strapped in for his strap on. What is that? What kind of conceptualization does that bring to the forefront of your mind? Go ahead and respond in, a couple sentences, 3 to 5 paragraphs. But we just acknowledged the conceptualization and then we move on. Sensorality straps. Straps is traps. That is a natural definition, direct iteration, complete. Trap scholar. Brad is trapped. I'm stuck. I can't do anything. Trap is tarp. Natural definition, direct iteration, complete. Sensorality is strapping. Is authority powerful? Sensorality is uselessness. Sensorality is senselessness. So again, sensorality, you can very clearly, if you're following, feel that again, we're just using the syllability of sensorality to show this differentiation. And if you've seen it with speciality, it's the same thing. It's just a different definition. But emphasizing geometrically uselessness and senselessness, that the SE to lessness is the same. The syllability left over is, again, to generalize that would be sensuality, right? The SENU is the only thing from sensorality is uselessness, sensorality is senselessness. The only geometric difference of, again, the representation, the letters, is the U and the SEN. Worth pointing out, not a major step, just highlighting again, we're getting to a fundamental differentiation. And so, something else came to mind that I wanted to say and I just lost it. But moving to our next step, this is back to, again, power to powder, sensorality to sensodorality. What is odor to powder? Emphasizing the OD is like, it's the same syllability. It's connecting, it is what it is in this specific form progression. Sensorality is powderality again, natural definition, direct iteration. Sensodorality is powderality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Emphasizing that step is, again, our containment of sensorality linguistically and conceptually to containment of what would be, again, power, energy, velocity. Again, energy and velocity are two big conceptualization, again, things that, again, velocity, rapid movement, energy, movement, potential. We went through all of that last time. That is what power is. Rapid movement potential. And so, but now linguistically, power is contained with the same linguistic extension as sensorality to sensodorality, power to powderality. It's the same direct expansion of one consonant, duh. But now, for sensodorality, just for explicitness, we do have an OD that we put in there, and then the iteration to powderality from power is just one D, where we just put one D in there. Nice. But emphasizing that step right there is this big containment and form of solution, form of linguistics that's common denominator, and the D again. Nice. But conceptually gives us a direct thing again. Sensorality is powder deodorant. Right? Natural definition, direct iteration. I don't know if it's a thing, but it's a clearly defined conceptual thing. Sensorality is powder odor. What is humidity to odor? What is moisture to odor? Again, if you spill some sort of like biological, again, a litter box is a deodorizer, and it's just absorbing moisture. Right? Deodorization is absorption. And so, and that's again, functionally true, right? You spill something on carpet, you put something down to absorb it, right? Something has odor, you try to absorb the thing emitting the odor. So we have this direct conceptual framework, direct linguistic containment. We have to be like immediately close. Moving along, worthless is useless, emphasizing the linguistic structure and similarity between word, worth, and powder, or power is what I have here, but same extension. I guess word, what is word to powder? Senseless is worthless. What is power to proof? Is proof powerful? If we demonstrate the form of all solutions, will that have impact on society? Is power influential? And I know we've hit that one before. Moving along. Is power potent? So now we can restate the fundamental theorem of physics containing all of this conceptualization we just progressed. What is power? Power is potency. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is potentiality. Natural definition, direct iteration, and as you can see on your screen, we've now applied this EIA identity. And then we have that she sound in there, potency, potentiality. What is what is potentiality to speciality? Is special potent? What is potency to potentiality? As you can literally slur right into the next word. But we're covering all the steps so Professor Carroll can follow along and our great wizard Terence Tayal, the super math wizard of the universe, can follow along. What is identity to base? All right, EIA. E is the base for sure, natural logarithm E, tuning of the guitar E, all of the tones and sounds of the English alphabet, the mode is E. And then I, identity, again, that's kind of just like over here, but the order we have solidified, EIA, the letters, the sounds, and then, E is the base, A is the inverse geometrically, again, should be some phonetic thing, but again, we're solving linguistics. What's worth pointing out, again, I'm just pointing out exactly where we're at with all of these different steps. So again, is there the sound? What is E to A directly on the phonetic? I'm assuming it's also, again, well, what does that mean? Is it a different frequency? Is it a harmonic? Is it a half amplitude? Is it a whole integer amplitude? Is it, again, 1 over a whole amplitude or something? But geometrically, E and A are inverses. I'm assuming, again, still just pointing that out explicitly, but all of this information is contained within the letters. Get our concepts in the right order, and all of the information is contained within the letter structure. But again, E, base, A, inverse, I, identity. Is base identity. Sensorality is base identity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality inverses identity. Sensorality is the range of identity. Sensorality is the domain of identity. What is timing to age? Is aging timing? What is deodorization to absorption? And so, again, we're just progressing through our conceptualization, pairing it to linguistics. We have all of our pieces directly, immediately right there. So hopefully soon, but again, we've already done this whole process. I continue to ask for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. I cannot emphasize enough how my life quality is zero. As I started off this video, I've been seeking asylum. My rights are violated in such a profound way. It's caused me grave bodily harm. It's destroyed every waking moment of my existence. It is completely illegal. It is being done in organized, concerted action by governmental structures, by people that have legal and professional obligations to do something, but the overall moral consensus of behavior is 14-year-old children that don't care about anything. It has destroyed my entire life. I continue to ask for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. I have no expectation my life or life quality could ever change. I continue to do as much work as possible. Why people can't give me a little bit of money just to live some quality of life is beyond me. But to my estate, prosecute every charge, make everybody fuck everybody. Fuck everybody. There's nothing. Everybody's done. That's what I have for now. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.